بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين. وما بعد، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. هذه هي المحاضرة الثالثة بإذن الله بعنوان حروف الجر وكذلك عبارات حروف الجر. بإذن الله سوف نتعرف على كيفية استخدام حروف الجر وما هو الفرق ما بين حروف الجر في الاستخدام من واحدة إلى الأخرى. هذا ما سوف نراه إن شاء الله في هذا الفيديو. So in English, today is the third lecture and its title is Prepositions and Prepositional Phrases. The introduction, actually a preposition is a word like in, on, for, of, between, among, and so on and so forth. It can also be more than one word like out of, in front of, and so on and so forth. It comes usually before a noun phrase, for example, at 10 o'clock, with a pen, by car, by bus. All this will be explained later on. Second, a prepositional phrase is like on the table, at home, at an office, at work, etc. Third, there are also many idiomatic combinations where a particular preposition follows a verb, adjective, or a noun, like depend on, believe in, wait for, look after, look out, afraid of, focus on, etc., etc. Okay, these are the three rules, three common rules. There are some other rules, but they are the most common rules, and we'll see how they can be explained. Here in the third slide, we have at, on, in. If we take a look at the circles here, we have in the biggest circle and on in the smaller one and at in the smallest one. Okay, so what? When we are talking about a bigger area, because at, on, in as prepositions of place, we are talking about locations, places. So when we are talking about a big place, like a country, a big city, so we use in. When we are talking about a street or something like this, we can use on. When we are talking about a building, a complex, a village, or something like this, small town, we can use at. Okay, so first, when I want to explain where I live exactly, in general, I can say I live, for example, in Yemen or in Sana'a, as the capital of Yemen. But if I want to specify it more, I can say I live on 50th Street or 70th Street. But if I want to give a specific point or more particular place, if I want to decide where I live exactly, here I can use at. I live at Al Ahlam complex. Okay, so it's easy. From the biggest places, large places, countries, cities, and so on, we can use in. Streets, we can use it on. But complex, small areas, buildings, we can use at. And villages, we can use at as well. Okay, some villages are big villages, so we can use on or in. It depends. Okay, but here's the determination between all the differences, the distinctions between the three prepositions: at for small places, and on for bigger places or areas, and in for the biggest places, cities or countries. Okay. Here we have at, on, in, but as prepositions of time. Prepositions of time. So previously we were talking about at, on, and in as prepositions of places, of locations, of localities. Where do you live? If anybody asks you, you can answer, I live in Sana'a, I live on 70th Street, at Tahrir Street. But you can more specify it to tell him the exact place where you live in or where you live at you can tell him exactly the complex, the building, the small area, the bath, whatever. But now we can use them also the same prepositions for time, at, on, and in. Similarly, at for the smallest time, on for a bigger time, and in for the biggest. How come? Here we have examples. For example, he was born in 2010. 2010, we can say. Okay, so we are talking about the year or the month, we can use in. But when we want to decide it more, to specify it more, to tell people the day, for example, now we are telling them the month or the year, when we use in January 2010, for example, but we want to specify it more or much more. Here we can use, in the second example, he was born on Friday. Here we talked about the days of the week, or on February 2010. Okay, but if we want to specify it much more, okay, the third example, he was born at 10 o'clock a.m. First, we talked about the year, so the year or the month, we can use it. But when we talk about days, in any examples, in any situation, in any context, we can apply the same examples, the same propositions. He was born in 2010. Here we are talking about a year, or even the month. We can use the same proposition. But when we are talking about the day, here we are talking about something smaller or something more particular. So here we are using for the days of the week, on. He was born at 10 o'clock. Here, the smallest point, the smallest period of time in which we can use at. Okay, I think it's very clear and very easy. We have in and on plus two prepositions, but these are used as prepositions of action or movement. Prepositions of movement. Here we have examples. The man goes into the supermarket, and the other example, the man goes in the supermarket. What is the difference? Actually, the difference remains in the action, in the movement. When we say in the first example, the man goes into the supermarket, here we are talking that the man is walking inside the supermarket. But the second example, the man goes in the supermarket, we are saying that the man is inside the supermarket, but we are not talking about the action, his movement, whether he is walking or not. The last two examples, she climbs onto the horse. Okay, she climbs onto the horse. So here, she can ride a horse and use the horse for transportation, as transportation means. Okay, but when we say she climbs on the horse, only maybe she is climbing, but the horse is standing. It is not running. But she is climbing onto the horse. It means maybe the horse is running also. And she is on the horse and running to somewhere. Okay, here's the difference. Very simple. And two, you can take it for granted or keep it in mind that two, when it is added to in or on, it means the action or the movement only. Okay. Here we have by, on, and in as prepositions of transportations. Oh, great. Prepositions of transportations. So here by, it is separate from on and in. We are going to explain it separately. See, air, land, sea. Air, by airplane. Land, by car. By lorry, by bus, by whatever, bicycle. Sea, by ship, by boat, etc., etc. Okay, but now we have more, what I can say, details for these types of transportations. Air transportation, land transportation, and sea transportation. So bus, I'll come by bus. I'll come by car. She can come by car. She can come by train, by ship, by plane, by bicycle, by bike, motorbike. Okay, so here we can use by. By which you come to the university? By a car, by a taxi, by a bike, by a bicycle. Okay, bicycle. But on and in, when we are talking about on and in transportational occasions, here we are talking about where we are staying, where we are standing. When somebody, for example, I'm in a car or in a bus, on a lorry or track, and he asks me, where are you? I said, I'm in a car. I'm in my car. I'm in my car. Okay. But when I'm on a train or a ship, I can say on. I can use on. So the difference, I'll tell you the difference. Any vehicle, any transportation means in which you can stand up and walk or get on standing. There you can say on, you can use on. How come? On train, you can stand up in train, you can walk in train, go to the bath, go to the canteen. People are walking here and there while the train is running. The ship also, people can go to the restaurant, to go to the bathrooms, to the toilets, wherever they can go. They can sit, they can watch TV, they can stand up, they can talk standing, and whatever. On horse, you can stand up and walk by horse. Okay, on bicycle, you can stand up also. On bike, on foot. It is normal and common sense. But can you stand in a bus, but especially a small bus, because couch, they are called couch, we can use also on for some great couch that or the big buses we can use also on sometimes, but sometimes we cannot. We can use even in, which is more formal. Car, I cannot stand up and go to bathroom or restaurant. I'm sitting. Traveling journey mode is sitting. Lorry, truck, also the same. Okay. Also, I want to remind you something, that by, when you use by any vehicle, it means what? We don't need to use any article after by. So we can say by car, by bus, by train, by sea, by ship, by plane, by airplane, whatever. So needless to say, by a car or by a bus or something like this. Okay, but on or in, you can say in the bus or on the train. Okay, clear. Another usage for by, but with. By and with. First column is talking about by. So after by, take it as a rule. After by, we often have a verb with ing. For example, I learn English by watching Envid. Envid means English videos. Okay, so we are talking about when somebody asks you, how do you learn English? You can say, I learn English by watching English videos, by watching YouTube, by watching movies, whatever. This is the first rule. Okay, there has been a verb after by, and the verb must have ing. Okay, then the noun. The second rule, we use by also for communication and transportation. There are some more exceptions, but they are the most common exceptions also. Communication and transportation. You can say, I'll contact you by email. I'll contact you by text, writing, typing. This is for communication. And I want to remind you of something, that also in cell phone applications, mobile applications, for example, WhatsApp, Facebook, and all these things, also email, we can use on. How come? Now I'm saying I will contact you by email. So the means that I'll contact you by is email. Okay, but when I want to tell you that the letter or the message or the photos, some photos maybe we take selfie together and I want to send it to you. And I want to tell you the means that in which I will send this photos or images by, I can say on. Okay, we are telling about the action, for example, as we said, photos or letter or message. I can say, I'll contact you on email. So it means what? I'll send the photos on email. I will send them on WhatsApp. I'll contact you on phone. Okay. هنا بالعربي عندما نتكلم عن الوسيلة التي سوف نتواصل بها نستخدم باي في الكوميونيكيشن، وعندما نتكلم عن ما سوف نرسله خلال هذه الوسيلة نستخدم on. Okay. Clear. I'll contact you by email. I'll send your photos on email. Okay, great. I'll come by bus. Transportation, we have said it, and we have talked over it. Okay, but still we can use it here to be more clear or clearer. With, in the second column, we often use with the following 2 points. First, with body parts. I write with my hand. Okay, I can walk with my legs. I can talk with my tongue. I can see with my eyes. Okay, I can smell with my nose. I can taste with my tongue also. Okay, we are using the parts of body. Here we have example. I eat with my right hand. Some people can eat with their left hand also. I walk with my legs. But here the second point, we can also use with tools and instruments. For example, she cleans the floor with mop, with wiper. Okay, so here when we are using materials, tools, instruments, using them for doing something, here we can use the preposition with. He eats with a spoon or with a fork. He writes with a pen. I write with a marker. Okay. The 8th slide. Here we have 4 prepositions for, since, during, a while. I think most of them we had already told you, or we had already studied last semester. But for repetition and for distinction, for making a clear distinction between the usage of these prepositions. First, for, as we know, it is for a period of time, but this time is not specific. We are talking in general 3-4 years back. Okay, he has been studying English for 1 year, for 1 year, for 2 years, for 3 years. Okay, even in future, I will be studying for 3 more years. 4, okay. But here's the comparison between for and since. But when we are talking about since, when we want to use since, here we can specify the time, the starting up time period. Okay, for example, he has been studying English since July 2019. So the first example is 1 year, but here we are telling the start up point of time period. Okay, here is only the difference. We can use them even for some other statements, and is particularly since. Since you're happy, you can help me, or since you're happy, come and enjoy with me playing football. You can use since also in these situations, but here for timing actually. During and while. During, actually, we cannot use a verb absolutely at all. We cannot. So directly use a phrase, 1 word, 2 words, 3 words, but without using a verb, without using a sentence. We know the sentence structure is subject, verb, complement, but here we cannot use a verb. Then we put comma and we complete a sentence. During coronavirus, in brackets, COVID-19 lockdown, quarantine, comma, he has been studying English online. Okay, so during reading, he was pressing the buttons of the computer during reading. Okay, during reading, my friend was waiting for me. During my travel, I was watching TV, and so on and so forth. Okay, but while is the opposite. it is compulsory to distinguish between these two prepositions, that after a while we have to use a verb. And most of the time, or most time, we use in past or present continuous. It must be verb to be and then infinitive verb plus ing. Okay. He visited me while I was watching a movie. He came to me while I was playing football. He called me while I was reading. Okay, so after a while, here is a complete sentence, subject, verb, complement. And we said most of the time we can use it in past or present continuous. Okay. Close to, near, next to, beside. 4 prepositions. First, close to. My house is close to the university. So when we are talking about these 2 prepositions, close and near, they are almost interchangeable, and they are similar to each other in usage also, in usage and in meaning. But the difference we can use after closed, I'm so sorry, this is closed, remove D. D letter, you can remove it. There is no D letter. We are so sorry, but focus on it. Please pay attention. There is no D letter, and here we are telling you that it is only close, as it is in the headline or in the bold line, close to the university. So the space, the distance between, for example, which is in the right hand, my home, for example, and in the left hand is the university. So it is close to the university. It is not so far. Okay, it is not far away. It is close to the university. But near also, it is the same space, the same distance between the university and my home. My house is near the university, but without using the preposition to. Okay. Here, next to and beside. Here is the difference. The 4 are the same, with the same meaning. باللغة العربية قريبا من أو قريبا لا. لكن هنا الفرق عندما نتكلم على close to near معناته أن هناك فرق مسافة لكن ليست تلك البعيدة. أما next to beside معناته أنه جنبا إلى جنب. Okay. So here next to, side by side, as we said. My house is next to the university. So if we look at the symbols down, we have there's in the right hand my home next to the or beside the university. Beside also with the same meaning. So near and close to are with the same meaning. They can be interchangeable. Next to and beside, on the other hand, can be interchangeable as well. Both next to and beside with the same meaning. Close to and near with the same meaning. So here the example, beside, my house is beside the university. So it means it's next to the university or beside the university. So there's no space or very much distance. Okay. In front of, before, after, behind, opposite. Okay. First, in front of, it means if we look at the symbols, one in front of the other. Okay. One in front of the other. Okay. One standing in front of the other. He used to sit in front of his father. For example, if you are in class and your friend used to sit in front of you, but both of you are looking at the teacher. Okay, the opposite, here opposite is the opposite also. He used to sit opposite his father. So they are face to face. They are face to face. Okay, they are face to face, sitting face to face. This is his father and this is the son. They are sitting face to face. You and your teacher in class, you are sitting opposite each other. Okay, clear. Behind, he used to sit behind his father. Okay, it means his father is sitting here and he's sitting in the chair behind. Okay, he used to sit behind his father. So his father in the first chair and he is after him, he is behind him, and both of them are looking front to the teacher, to the preacher, orator, president, TV, watching TV, whatever. Here we have 2 more prepositions after and before. We use them for time also, that in the past perfect, and after we use past perfect, and before we use after it past simple, and we can complete the compound sentence by using these connection words. Okay. Here we are using them differently. How come? Here when we say he used to sit after his father, both of them are standing up, and his father sits down, and he used to wait till his father sits down, then he can sit down. This is one meaning. The other meaning, he can sit behind his father also. Okay, both meanings we have here in using the preposition after. Also before, he used to sit before his father. It means you can say in front of his father, and you can say both of them are standing up, and then he used to sit before his father. His father is still standing up, and he used to sit down. He sits down before his father. Both meanings we have here also. Two uses for these two prepositions, as well as the usage of these prepositions in the past perfect. Oh well, between and among, they are very simple. All the prepositions are simple, but they are requiring practice from the students. Okay, between, first, divide the cake, divide it between Ali and Ahmed. So you can divide it into two parts and give Ali one part and the other part, two parts only. Okay, but when you say divide the cake among your brothers and sisters, here among we use it for more than two parts, more than two persons, more than two things. Okay, so here the cake may be five pieces will be there, will be divided to be distributed for the brothers and sisters. Okay. Look at, look for, look out, look after. And there are some prepositions. Look up, look it up. It means check it out. Look down. These prepositions can be also used, but sometimes adverbial. Here we have look at. This prepositional phrase means the preposition comes after the verb first, but here the preposition, what we want to say is that the preposition can change the meaning of the word. So here look, in the four examples, is the same word with the same prepositions and letters. Okay, but when we add at after it, when it is followed by at, here the meaning is changed or is changed. The meaning is changed. When it is followed by for, the meaning is changed. When it is followed by out, the meaning is changed. When it is followed by by after, the meaning is also changed. Here in the first example, look at, it means to see. Look at it. Look at me. See me. Look at me. Look for, it means search. Search for something or about something. Look out, take care, pay attention. Look after, to care about something, to care of something. Okay. Focus on, depend on, insist on. Also, these are prepositional phrases. Or sometimes they can call them verbal phrases. But here we are explaining how can the preposition change even the meaning of the verb, or sometimes like this slide, like what this slide is going to explain, the preposition is compulsory to be used after this verb. There is no any preposition can be used. Only on can be used after such words. So focus on, we cannot say focus in or focus with or focus at. Focus on. You have to focus on my explanation. Okay, I'm teaching you. And hey, pay attention, focus on my explanation. Focus on my talking. Okay, pay attention. Depend on. You have to depend on yourself in education. Okay, you cannot say depend in or depend at. You can say depend on, also up on. It can be divided into two prepositions. So on is there. Insist on. We cannot say insist in or insist at or insist with or insist for or insist off. No. We cannot say or cannot use this, some prepositions other than on. Don't insist on your opinion even though you are wrong. Okay, so we have only on to use after insist. Or sometimes some users or some speakers cannot use the prepositions after insist at all. Okay. Interest in, believe in, persist in. Interest. We cannot say interest at or interest of or interest for. Interest in only. Believe in only. Persist in only. Though persist in and insist on are of the same meaning, but the prepositions are different and some slight difference between them in usage. Also, we'll come to it later on after explaining interest in and believe in. Interest in. Are you interested in home education? Some of you, yes. Some others, no. Interest means that you are very fascinated in education, in home education. Okay. So believe in. Do you believe in the God? هل تؤمن بالله? Yes, of course. Persist in. So such a preposition in after such words, and there are some other words, but you can learn them day by day, and from vocabulary buildings, and also you can practice and you can read them from even some grammar box. Here, persist in, you have to persist in saying the truth even if you suffer. So persist in to continue to go on and on even if you face obstacles. But insist on, here's the difference in usage. Insist on means that, in the first slide we have explained it, means that you are insisting in something and maybe you are wrong at this thing, and sometimes you're right and you can stop something from doing it. Okay, so previously we said don't insist on your opinion even though you're wrong. But here, you have to persist in saying the truth even if you suffer. صر على قول الحقيقة، أصر على قول الحقيقة حتى لو عانيت. ولكن بالرغم من أن persist in و insist on كلاهما بنفس المعنى في الترجمة، معناته يصر على شيء أو يؤكد على شيء. Okay. Your assignment, the last or the before the last slide. Your assignment, write 3 examples on every preposition. So here, for your practice, for your exercises. If you practice it now and you write examples and you try to apply what I have said, here you can reserve them in your mind. You can keep them in your mind, in your memory. They can carve and they will not be forgotten one day. Believe me, they will not forgotten simply. Last slide. Here we have some wisdom, some proverbs, but we are saying they are presents, gifts, presence and distance. They are only for your refreshment. The harder you study, the better you become. If you study hard, you will be better. One day you will see yourself in the top, in the summit. Okay. To reap well, do well. If you want to harvest something perfect, something great, first work. Work hard, work well, see something perfect. Perfect yourself to be perfect. So if you don't perfect yourself, if you didn't help yourself, nobody will come to help you even for small things or private things, even for education. Perfect yourself to be perfect. Everybody wants to perfect himself. Nobody wants to be more perfect than him. No perfecter actually, perfect is perfect, but we can say if we can say that. Okay, good luck and hope you enjoy it, and please repeat it 3 more times for your advantages.